Okay. Um. Okay. Uh. There's this poem I just wrote. It's called "The Willow Tree," and I'm just gonna read it. I'll explain it. Whatever you get out of it is what you get out of it. All right. Come sit beneath the willow tree, she said silently, as the wind blew through her hair and shook the branches silently. Our hearts are birds that will fly forever, she said, in a romantic way, as all 4 seasons passed in a day. Spring came with the heavy rains, washing away all my former pains, and filled the air with the rose's sweet scent, with hearts double beat for every second spent. Then came the summer, and our souls it did heat, and made our skin sweaty with every adulterous meat. That stronghold of ours we did build, with promises to keep out the past the hearts did fill. Foolish promises made as the calendar turned to fall. My heart was what you no longer yearn at all. The leaves of the willow did turn gray and black, as their mouths launched swords aimed at our backs. And so finally did come winter. My heart again began to splinter, and once the end we found, we threw our hearts, our love, ourselves upon the ground. And the calendar began to turn again and again. It became my enemy, my friend. So all things built in time. So all things built to die in time, to be born again, to live, to learn, to grind. For all these things we are left with ghosts of our former selves, our silhouettes, with the things that from the grave we keep, fill our eyes as we begin to weep. So it's best, though hard, that we move on, for today we are here, tomorrow gone. And beneath this willow tree we all are, though we travel from near and far. Um, I'll explain it. If you get, like I said, if you get anything else out of it, take what you want out of it. I don't want to limit or define your experience just because I'm the one who wrote it. I think that's like really selfish to do. Not that I know that anybody does it. I'll go explain each paragraph, but I'm not gonna do it hard. The first one, it was just basically like at the beginning when you first meet somebody. It's you always seem to meet them at like a place that you remember, or like the place always seems better than what it really is. Like you could have been there before like a million times, and it's this willow tree, and I guess with the branches shaking violently, it's the situation, and even though it seems like it's about love and a relationship, that's not really all it's about. Because you could take this for anything. You take it for your struggle with religion when you first find religion as tactic. You could take it for really anything you want. A belief, a friendship, um, your life, whatever. Um, when, like spring is obviously overused imagery that I really like to use stuff that's been used in other places just because it is just simpler to explain. Spring is like the beginning, and the heavy rains are like sort of redemption, like something that's happened, and then you meet this person or this thing, and it sort of changes your life and takes away like everything you've been through before, and just clears it or vindicates it, and just like how like everything just seems so much better. Your heart beats faster, the air smells better, and then the next is summer, and summer's very hot, and it's like it seems short, but you get 6 months of good weather, just like 6 months of bad weather where I normally live. Um, and that's basically the stronghold with arms is basically like when you're with somebody and you're hugging them, you're holding them, or you're in the midst of something, you make promises that you really intend to keep at that time, but in the grand scheme of things, you know that you really can't. But you just, it's more about the moment than anything, or it just turns foolish. And the calendar It's basically like the passage of time, and it turned to fall where things start to go downhill, and just like there's the Willow, which is again there, and it's um basically like this guardian force that watches over us. That's what it's just like we met the person, and it sort of becomes like a spirit, someone that we all meet. Um, in words, and mouth wants to sort of like stabbing somebody in the back, through actions or words, and you feel like you find something out, or you feel betrayed by something, and then finally it's just when things start to become undone in winter, and just things start to break down again, and eventually you start to get rid of yourself. You both decide just to walk away, but oftentimes when you walk away, you don't really walk away. And again, the calendar begins to turn again and again. It's just basically later on. It's just like after the situation, and oftentimes you start to remember how things were, and the calendar sort of becomes like time becomes your enemy, because you start to become so far away from this time that was really good, and right now you're not in a place that's good, and it sort of hurts. But then you remember that a lot of things sort of happen this way, and um, that we're always left with our memories, which are basically like ghosts of our former self silhouettes, just because we can remember them in our head, and maybe we can relive them in our minds, but they don't really have that physical form that we want. And the longer we hold on to them and keep them from dying, the more we end up hurting ourselves in the end. And even though it's hard, that it's best that we move on from things sometime. And uh, because we're only here for so long. And again, I end with the Willow Tree, which is basically a place where you meet people, you meet everyone, or you meet your destiny. It's this place that we all are, and some people have to go a really long place to get somewhere, and some people are born right where they need to be. Bye bye.